with body integrity dysphoria itself, many societies, many people see these patients as mad, right? As far as I know, the nosological status of these diseases is quite unclear. How would you, Dr. Brugger, like view these patients?
A man from Germany came to see me in Zurich. I was in Zurich then, and talked about his suffering from he wanted to have both legs removed, and he he just turned me around. I mean, he made me believe that there is a serious problem and not just an internet induced madness, as could just, let me say, poetically I talked about these phantoms in persons who were born without a limb and nevertheless have a representation. I called them as kind of an animation without incarnation. Well, I cannot prove this, but I believe that there is a genetic component to that disorder. There is a genetic work on transgender persons claiming that they had found a gene locus or an allele that codes for being transgender. The same allele they also found is associated with the psychological trait of openness.
So have you thought of any benefit of why someone would carry this gene, evolutionary speaking?
Yeah. See, now it surprises me. We are really a little bit back to the madness creativity issue. I don't see any benefit by carrying a gene that codes specifically for being not satisfied with the shape of your body and leading to an amputation desire. And so this is weird. This is really not what can be imagined. But as we deal with correlations, and I just mentioned the openness issue before, I of course see some genetic advantage in being open against being closed. I mean, this opens up new eras of thinking, new eras of development, and mediated by this openness gene, which could unfortunately be associated with some negative trait, namely not being satisfied with one's body.
Yeah,
that's how we have to see the things. And that's my concern a little bit, that people look at these things of body representation in a too narrow sense. Neuroimaging freaks are neuroimaging persons just concentrate on the blots in the superior parietal lobule or in the insula or there. They don't see the whole spectrum of what is very important to understand that. And your question is really brilliant. We should ask such questions about what could be the evolutionary advantage of something which has been here before. I see that the gender issue, even if it's highly debated and finds some political crashes and so on, scientifically it's more established than the body integrity issue. And I know about children, very young children, claiming that there is a misfit between their sex and their gender. But would you now extend that to asking people, asking little kids, 5-6-year-old kids, hey, do you feel your left arm as much connected to your body, to your person, as the right one? I mean, would you really, in a kind of suggestive, not deliberately, but certainly suggestive way, to interrogate kids about these issues? No, this is very dangerous, because you could really implant some desires they would never have invented without your intervention. Or you could, given, especially in a child with maybe big openness, a gene for large openness, you could actually trigger by
Implant that idea.
mere questioning, implant an idea, or make it, maybe not implant, but
Foresee one day that the science and the technology could come to the point where they are able to kind of fix that like right superior parietal lobe, or the regions in the like the brain that's responsible for causing this like issue with the patient. Did you ever see that one day happening, or are we very far
yeah,
off?
that's kind of a science fiction question now. The most the first association that comes to mind is deep brain stimulation.
Right.
This is used in Parkinson's research and very successful there in this.
Increase the dopamine and everything, right?
Right. This is, you insert an electrode into regions which are really crucial for guiding these neurotransmitter
I think
ways
in
and
the
so on. And
substantia nigra or something like that part of the
yeah,
brain.
right. Well, that's the dopamine region. Yeah, yeah. It's the subthalamic nucleus where you actually stimulate electrically in these persons, and they have here peripherally, they can adjust the current. It's really impressive.
Mm.
A person who would die because he or she would be unable to eat, to feed him or herself, because he would shake that terribly. He would not be able to live. You know, and you switch on the generator and he's normal, like you and me. So it's really impressive. But
Mm.
where would we stimulate in EIT?
Yeah.
Well, so there is so much research to be done that we simply cannot recommend any particular procedure technically. But again, it's part of phantomology, and it will go on. Research will go on, and that makes sense.
BID for GD itself, they predominantly affect a lot of males. Would you have any explanation or any ideas as to why?
It's both that there are cultural components to this. Men are different in their communicating their feelings and so on. In the female brain, if anything, is less lateralized than men's brain. I have to say I believe in this because it's not a generally accepted scientific fact. There are people who say, all these sex or gender differences in the brain, this is, they just come down to one basic thing, which cannot be denied, that the brain is larger in men than it is in women. That's a trivial observation. Yeah. It's not worth any thought. I mean, it doesn't do anything. Yes, there is at least agreement. But I believe that in this lateralization issue, and we come back actually to the hemisphere again, and to the issue of creativity and madness, if you want, I believe, and there are lots of things, that female brain is less specialized. One hemisphere does just one thing, the other hemisphere does just the other thing. Maybe as a visual spatial for the right hemisphere in the right-handers, and the language issue in the left hemisphere for right-handers. And given that, or accepting that as a scientific fact, we could say that the two legs are represented in both hemispheres. And that may be the reason, or one of the reasons, why female brain is, or why women are more attracted to bilateral, necessarily bilateral paraplegia.
Right.